that's not chaotic at all. Let's try that one instead. Yeah. How y'all's doing today? I am doing poorly, which is why this video probably won't be edited at all, because I'm behind schedule on everything and just, it's all a mess. Anyhow, I like to talk about health, well-being, stuff like that. Excuse me if I'm not looking too much in the camera, but to get some sort of decent lighting in this complete darkness, I have a very bright bulb up here, which is really uncomfortable to the eyes. So yeah, it's a softbox, but still, I only have one and I have nothing to bounce it off, so I can't put it to the side, which would probably be better for the lighting as well, but maybe does this work? It's kind of creepy. We'll just keep it up here and just see how we're doing. The framing is not ideal either, but what you gonna do? It's already 8:30 almost here, so I mean, I made a commitment. I have to stick to it, right? Even under horrible circumstances. I mean, it's not horrible, but the filming conditions aren't great either. But before I ramble off too much, today's video is going to be a mess. I've shared a lot in the past, especially if you've also watched like the live video ramblings that I've done on Facebook and stuff like that. I shared a lot about a lot, and I do this because I think it's important. In part, it's important to myself. Nothing is completely selfless, let's be honest. I've noticed that through Quantum Flow, we were encouraged very much, and I joined into that, even though I found it difficult, to share in the group via video, to really open up your voice, I guess you could say. And I've noticed how much that can be a release. Just talk to somebody. And different people have different people to talk to in varying degrees, but talking to that group, and I noticed that for a lot of people who shared in that Quantum Flow group, it's a whole different level than just talking to somebody. So in general, that I talk here just to share a little bit about how I'm doing, what's going on with me, in part to release and to just throw it out there, keep people that are interested updated. But also what I've found is that for me personally, it can be very useful to see other people talking about stuff that I struggle with. For example, with all the wild fit stuff. A lot of diets I've tried out in the past when I wasn't too happy with my eating, with my weight, with my health, mostly. A lot of diets that I tried out, and I haven't tried out too much to be honest, but still, I've tried them out because something in it spoke to me. And what it is with WildFit is that a lot of people were saying, it was mostly via the WildFit publishing that I came into contact with it, but that you hear it's people mirroring struggles that you yourself have. And so in that specific case, it was a lot of people talking about knowing what to do, knowing the rules you should follow for eating, but still being unable to follow it. And talking about how other programs fail you instead of you failing those programs. And that all really spoke to me. And seeing other people share their experiences around that helped me to, for one, know that I'm not the only one experiencing stuff, and also to make that step in knowing, okay, where do I go from here? In this case, that was, okay, so WildFit fits, no pun intended. But just in general, I've found that I seek out a lot of content on platforms like YouTube, and I'm very selective in who I follow, or I've become very selective in who I follow on both on social media and on YouTube, which in a way is a social medium as well, I guess you could say. I've really curated a careful selection of people to follow who speak to me. I mean, literally via YouTube, but more so about people who share their experiences through stuff. So there's a couple of people who are in modern day terms called influencers, which is a very loaded and annoying term. But hearing people talk about what they are struggling with can just help you understand what you're struggling with better. I have a tendency to start sentences and leave them hanging and then just have nothing else. Then there's just this suspenseful pause. But that's a whole different issue. I have no idea how this video is going to turn out, but yeah. So because I found that helps me, I feel like I'm, on the one hand, you have this feeling of how interesting am I and why would I ever share anything with the world, because who cares? Who cares about me? Who cares about what's going on? Who cares about my problems? There's problems billions times bigger, so just shut up and do your thing. But then on the other hand, I know from experience that, I mean, of course, there's always people who have it worse, who have bigger problems, but hearing day in, day out about only about people who have huge problems does not help me, which sounds very selfish and partially is, but also it is so far removed from me that it doesn't really do anything for me anymore. I know there's suffering in the world. I know there's terrible suffering, and there's ways to help out with that, and that is a whole different topic. And it's not that I don't care or don't do anything with that, but just sitting in misery of people that you can't even relate to feels, that's not helping anybody. Where was I going with this? Problems closer to home, closer to yourself, can actually help you. And meaning that, reflecting back on myself, sharing about stuff that is going on with me, even though it feels a bit narcissistic sometimes, it can actually be helpful to people. And I'm not saying that I'm this guru giving out the greatest advice to everybody. What I am saying is that I have also experienced that when I share something that I struggle with, small or big, so far I've always found that when I open up, people reach out to me publicly or privately saying like, I'm so happy you said this because I also have this, I recognize this, blah, blah, blah. That sounds rude, but I mean, you get what they're saying. And so there's the other side of that, is that it is, in a way, it's selfish if I can share stuff that doesn't really cost me anything to share, and it might help someone else out. The same way other people selflessly help me out by sharing their stories. You would think this is all leading up to a big reveal of some heavy struggle that I'm having, which might have been where I was going into the beginning, but I'm also already, like, looking at the counter here, over 10 minutes in with this rambling. And I think that this message stands well on its own. I had a conversation with someone the other day about how much you should share. And I think a lot of people feel too humble to share something, and they feel like, I don't want to preach. I don't want to tell other people how to live their lives. And that is also, there's a difference. Like, just sharing about what you love, what you're experiencing, what you hate, well, that's not very good, but what you're struggling with, what you love, stuff like that. If you're just sharing that purely to share, I don't think that's selfish or narcissistic at all. Of course, my disc was full right as I was finishing my sentence. Everything is just kind of piling up into one big disaster this weekend, which is for a big part also down to myself, like only having very limited storage and not having connected my external hard drive to actually record these videos on, because of course Videos take up a lot of space, blah blah. That's all not the point. Now, I'm not saying everybody should have to share every little thing that goes on with them. But I do think that if you feel inclined to share something, it can be really helpful to people. Guessing that's the message for today. You can have a bigger impact than you know. Hope that all wasn't too rambly. Sorry if it was. It's, as we call in the Quantum Flow group, raw and real. Thank you if you watched all that. Leave a like if you actually also liked all that. Nah, thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you want to follow along with the wildly differing content I create for this Vlogmas. And I'll see you all tomorrow.